We have a $100 donation from Shutter Tricks. I love Keen. Thank you to all the members of the AGDQ community for being there. You all rock. Have a $50 donation from the Mad Waifu. This is my third AGDQ marathon, and every year I love it more. I lost a friend 10 years ago by leukemia. He was a great friend of the whole school. It was a shame that he was 10 years old. I work in a small retail shop, and every year I hear someone near pass by because of cancer. Anyways, save the frames and kill all the animals. $50 donation from Kona Recon. Love the Keen series, played it via shareware and never found any copies. Would like to put 25 of this donation to naming one of the male descendants in Rouge Legacy Star Chaser and 25 to naming a female descendant, Elark, both in honor of my parents who kindled my love of games. $40 from Greg McMuffin. Commander Keen got that 250K hype. $50 from Nostalgia Kid. Snow day in, but always entertained watching the games I used to play as a kid, although not as good as the speedrunners. Keep up the good work. $30 donation, the message, kill them animals. $50 donation from Flawed. Cancer sucks, speedruns don't. There are more ways to donate besides just directly donating. One of the ways to do so is through the Humble Bundle. Check out the awesome Games Done Quick bundle on humblebundle.com. Pay what you want for up to 9 games, a Twitch Turbo subscription, a subscription to XSplit Premium, and exclusive merchandise, all while supporting Prevent Cancer Foundation. www.humblebundle.com. Another one of our great sponsors is TinyBuild. TinyBuild Games is an indie developer morphed into an indie publisher. They partner up with indies across the world to help better their games as well as develop games themselves. Check them out at tinybuild.com and check out their game speedrunners available in the AGDQ2015 Humble Bundle. $25 donation from Dr. T Chops. Captain, don't soft lock the game again. $20 donation from Gaming Cashbox. Love watching Captain Clever practice this game on his stream. Commander Keen series was one of my favorite games growing up. Best of luck. $20 from Wistonov. First time watching AGDQ live. I love this event since I first discovered it on YouTube. Let's kill cancer together. Big cheers from Montreal, Canada.
So he can see too.
We're good?
Switch positions, yeah.
Okay, awesome. So I guess
late.
before I start, I'll just explain what the category is. So there's episodes in this game, and each episode has 5 levels. I'm going to be doing the first column of episodes, which is here. I hope you can see the mouse on stream. Just starting at 0, 0, and then we play until the game takes us back to the main menu. So are we ready on countdown? Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, so like Yeti explained, we do categories so far as columns, and that's merely because after beating an episode, which is 5 levels in sequence, you move on to the next one lower in the column, and so that way, if we are doing a single level, we can go ahead and just do all the subsequent levels in the column at once. I'm going to be quiet for this level, actually, because it's quite difficult.
Oh, first try. That's really good.
First try.
That skip saves about 5 seconds, and it's pretty difficult.
Yeah,
but
no-
it's only like 20 seconds into the run, so it's usually worth going for until you can get it.
The movements in this game is surprisingly difficult.
Yeah, it's really like loose controls, and the momentum is pretty difficult to control. A lot of people complain that it's like really floaty and that they have like just trouble controlling it. But I think that's really like a fun part of it because it's more about managing like your momentum and just like figuring out where you're gonna go and controlling things really precisely than it is about like, I don't know, specific tricks and stuff like that. There's a lot more like adaptation as you play through.
Yeah, and the reason a lot of people think that the movement isn't very difficult is because, in fact, you actually control this game using only 3 keys, left, right, and jump. But in fact, you have a lot of permutations based on that, and based on what kind of momentum you already have, what kind of slope you're landing on, what's around you when you hit a jump key. A lot of these things actually affect what kind of action you're going to take and how your jump might look when you take a jump. So
Yeah, one example is right there. I hit the trampoline and then wall jumped immediately, which gives me like a huge boost. And that's seen a few times in the run. Another example is here. You can kind of climb up slopes a little bit higher than you would normally be able to jump. And you can also get a lot of speed off the slopes.
There's actually only 8 different kinds of tiles in this game, but you can hit the corners of any sharp edge and you can jump off of them, which a lot of times you'll see Yeti do just to get a lot of extra speed.
Yeah, it's used a lot in the ILs too. There's also fall damage in this game, and you can avoid it by hitting slopes, which I just did right there. And that's used a lot in the game as well. You can also hit corners, which are sharp, and treat them like slopes and negate fall damage that way as well.
yeah, to be
But
clear,
that's
a
very
lot of the way
difficult.
that we actually end up surviving long falls is by landing on slopes, because essentially what determines your the force that you hit a wall with is based sort of on your momentum and the normal, which is based on sort of like the angle you hit a slope at. Like if you're hitting it like a flat slope when you're falling straight down, that would be the maximum force, whereas if you're hitting a sloped surface at the same angle, you'll have a very minimal force on it, and that'll actually affect whether you'll die from a long fall or not.
So in this level, and I guess now this level, you'll see chimneying, which is just quickly going up small, narrow passageways upwards. First, a lot of people, they try to hit left and right as a chimney, but
Just mashing jump is the...
yeah.
Yeah. And if you do it too fast, you can actually hit the ceiling and die, which is something you have to be careful of. But
You kill yourself because you end up going so fast that the next frame,
Oh.
you can go so fast that the next frame puts you into the wall, which essentially kills you. And
There we go.
also, for certain custom levels that people make, they design it so that you have to chimney fast enough to go through some, like doors or really narrow tiles. With the way physics works, you can actually squeeze by a lot of enemies in a half tile width of space, which you can't normally do, but only if you're going fast enough.
Yeah, to be clear, in this game, unlike some of its successors like N+, all the enemies will only detect you typically if you're actually exactly within a tile or enough within a tile such that they'll be entirely in line with you. For example, in N+ for the DS or PSP or Xbox, if you move between tiles that an enemy is also moving between, it'll detect you on the next available tile, whereas this game, they will just pass by without ever seeing you.
yeah, the fact that you're positioned within the actual grid of tiles can affect how enemies target you. Makes it seem like some of the enemies are a bit like random, but it's actually all deterministic. That's something I like about this game, is there's actually pretty much no RNG at all, and no cutscenes, so it's pretty intense, but pretty good as well.
I guess you also see like a lot of these gold blocks. In the speedrun, they're not as useful as they are for a casual playthrough. A lot of times people will struggle finding like a path through the level. They give you 2 seconds for each one you
Oh,
collect,
crap.
and for every episode, your time carries over. So every set of 5 levels, your time carries over between each level. And a lot of times people run out of time on either the 4th or 5th level because they spent a lot of time on a level and didn't collect enough gold for it.
Yeah, I've
and
seen that happen a lot in blind races of this game, which is pretty frustrating.
Yeah, and to be clear, when you collect gold, you gain more time because the ninja is actually only able to move as fast as he can and have such amazing feats of dexterity because of his incredibly high metabolism, which also gives him a very short lifespan. There go 90 seconds. But because of his similarly materialistic attitude, he's able to survive by collecting more gold.
Yeah, that is the lore of this game. It's pretty good. They have like a little write-up in the main menu.
Learn the lore.
Yeah.
So a lot of these enemies feature these blue balls with antennae on their heads, and these are chaser drones. If you come within a line of sight that isn't directly behind them, they will instantly go straight in a line in your direction. You'll see it right there. He'll bait it out so that he can go past it.
Yeah, and they don't stop until I hit a wall.
They're pretty easily manipulatable in most sections unless it's like very tight confines.
A lot of times, the biggest threat with them is the sound that they make. They just, I normally play without sound, so it doesn't bother me, but when I did, it used to scare me all over, and I would just freak out.
This level has kind of a cool trick where if I boost up this slope and preserve my speed properly, I can jump straight to the exit switch, which saves like one wall jump. I almost got it there. And then the level after this one is probably the first like real hard level in the category in my opinion, just because of the route that I'm going to take. And the route itself isn't too difficult, but you have to have pretty good movement through the beginning of the level to make the proper cycle. And then the actual trick that you have to hit is a little bit technical, which is right here.
Yeah. Normally, you have to bait the floor guard,
got
which
there.
is that little thing that chased him around on the floor. You have to bait it out to the right so that you have enough time. But if you use the momentum, you can get enough speed that you just go straight through it.
You can also jump over the top of this level, but I just missed it. That thwomp can get in your way a little bit. The first part of this level is pretty much an auto-scroller, because there's a certain cycle on the inside drones that you can't get faster than. But the thing that is important is luring the drones around in such a way that the pattern when you exit is going to be in your favor. And I got a fine pattern right there.
That said, this actually would probably be a good time to introduce everyone who's on the mic. I'm Nightfire Cat.
Okay, thank you. We have a $25 donation, which reads, "Hi Jason, love mom and dad." We also have a $120 donation from Mariao that says, hello everyone. I love AGDQ and especially to support a good cause. We have lost too many because of cancer. Let's kick its butt together and good luck with the runs.
There's a bit of optimization on the exit to this level. I think I'll go for the fast route, which saves like 2 or 3 seconds. The thing that's scary about it is if you miss it, you have to play from the beginning of the level again. This game doesn't have checkpoints or anything. And that's like a minute time lost. But I just got it there. Getting past that drone is pretty easy if you have good movement through your exit, but if you mess up a little bit, then sometimes you have to wait for them.
The game is really full of small optimizations a lot of the time, and just like trying to route the game the best way to get to the exit without like running out of time.
There's a lot of different types of jumps that are available, and a lot of small movement mechanics. You'll see that he went along the wall right there, so he's close enough to the wall where he won't hit that mine as he's falling down. Also on the previous level, right before the exit, he clinged against the wall for like a quarter of a second. That slows your vertical momentum enough, and he did it again, where you don't die by falling into the ground. And a lot of times, just a moment of that is good enough so that you won't have too much vertical momentum to kill yourself.
Yeah, the slopes in this game also are one part of the, I mentioned a little bit earlier, part of the jumping mechanics, in that you can get a lot of speed and a lot of height off of them depending on which way you jump on them. Basically, you can jump either like normal to them or perpendicular, and if you jump perpendicular, then you'll boost really fast, like along the slope, and if you jump normal, then you will get a bunch of height, and that's actually used as a specific mechanic in some of the later levels. Here I have to wait for this drone. The next level is one that's notorious for trolling me. It has a bunch of like half-sized tile blocks, which can kind of bounce you around a bit, which is something that can get you sniped by these turrets. I'm just going to play it safe there.
So these are Gauss turrets that operate. They fire more often the closer you are and less often the farther you are. It's kind of hard to explain their firing mechanics. After playing a while, you just get the feeling that it's about to shoot.
Oh, I got that. That's awesome.
They're probably,
Sorry, go ahead.
the Gauss turrets are probably one of the hardest enemies to learn, just because of the way they fire.
In fact, they're particularly difficult to dodge when there's multiple of them because it's typically easy to dodge just one because you can predict its movement, but once you have multiple of them, you can actually, in dodging sort of the trajectory path that one's taking to aim at you, move into another one, and that one will then, well, shoot and kill you.
That trick I got on this level first try over that mine is actually a surprisingly precise jump. I think there's like a 3 or 4 frame window for it. But getting that first try is really nice. It saves like 6 or 8 seconds.
It's a really hard jump, and it's even harder because there's not a lot of like ground to run before it. You just have to nail the jump before you get there. In like a single tile high like path, you can also jump over a single mine on the ground, but it's really tight.
Oh, oops, okay. There's a fast strat for this level, but I messed it up a little bit, so I'm just gonna take the slow route.
You also saw him go out of the Gauss turret's field of vision, and that cancels its targeting mechanism until it sees you again and it completely starts over.
In this level, we'll see an enemy that we've seen for the first time now. It's called a chain gun drum. It'll take a moment to rev up while it aims at you, and during that time you actually can influence how it will be aiming at you. And then once it actually starts shooting, it'll start shooting slightly in an arc, or it'll aim progressively more and more in a direction. And as I said, in the time that it takes to aim at you, you actually can influence how it will aim. Typically, we try and just avoid them because once they start shooting, if you're caught out without actually having prepared for it, there's pretty much no way to dodge them. Sometimes you'll get lucky, but typically you'll just get shot.
Yeah, their firing mechanism is really weird because it also depends on the frame. They have different like sets of firing patterns they could have depending on what frame they're on, what the frame the game is on. Even if you have the exact same movement. When people build custom maps and test them for chain guns specifically, you have to record a demo which resets the frames to 0 so that they would operate reliably.
Ooh. Okay. Almost fell down there. We're getting into the last few episodes of the game, which is where things start to get much more difficult. This next level in particular is one that is quite painful because these slope surfaces can sometimes just kind of bump you off. Something about the platforming in this game is you really never stick to platforms unless you have like good momentum against their slope. So if you hit these circle platforms wrong, then you can actually just kind of fall off and die, which is not good. This level has been known to troll me a lot, but actually it went pretty well, so that's good.
It was like one of the few levels where you don't make huge advantage of
Okay,
those slopes.
we're good,
Yeah.
we're good.
I think most of the community hates round surfaces.
With a passion.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the same time, like the ILs for stuff with round surfaces are just like really cool to watch because you can do a bunch of really awesome boosts. But then if you're actually trying to go for a run on one of those levels, it's like really painful.
It's really difficult in practice, and it's very precise.
As a result, they're really good for trying to practice IL speedruns, that is individual level speedruns, but when we're doing real-time speedruns like we are here, they can be a real pain.
Yeah.
I have no IL runs with curves in them.
No?
Absolutely none. I hate them so much I didn't even bother trying most of the time.
So
Up
what
at the
you see,
beginning of this level is pretty tricky.
So what you see here is actually Yeti's using
There we go.
one of the features of the game, which is you actually have a key that is binded to kill yourself. Normally you'd think this is kind of macabre and a little bit weird, but we use this to reset a level quickly if we miss a trick that happens at the very beginning of the level, or if we know for a fact during a level that we would actually be killed otherwise, and that way we can actually just get to restarting the level more quickly and get on with the run.
The beginning of this level went really, really well. I was having a lot of trouble with it in practice, but that actually was perfect.
So if a lot of people might have been like looking at the bottom of the screen and it lists each of the levels' names, and they usually have a lot to do with the map. There was one earlier that said, "Don't go for the gold," and that's for a lot of people. They don't pay attention and they try to grab the gold, and like under the gold there are trap doors that put a door right in front of the goal so you can't beat the level anymore. And a lot of times, it's just really funny to see a lot of them because they have a huge reference in how somebody could complete the level the way it's intended, which a lot of times Yeti doesn't do because speedruns.
In some ways, the game functions as an action puzzle game where it challenges you to find the right way to go through the level.
This level is probably the hardest in the column, just because of the route I'm going to go for. If I fall down at the right angle here, I can... okay, made it. If you fall past that laser and he targets you like that, you can actually get one cycle of laser shooting early out here. You can get past that guy, and that saves about 6 or 8 seconds. I'm really happy I got that first try. We have 6 more levels. We're almost done with the second to last episode here.
So this level is just one of those that has so much freedom of movement that there's a lot of ways to do it, and there's a lot of ways to do it where you can get yourself trapped by the gas turret and shot. A lot of levels are designed to place the gas turret in such a way that it always has a really good firing arc on you when you're in the air and have the least amount of control over your movement. What he did there is a jump through a one-way. If the ninja is clinging to a wall that's right under the one-way and he jumps straight through it. You have to be perfectly aligned to the top for it to work.
Yeah, we're going to do it again on this next level and try and actually preserve momentum through the clip right at the beginning here. Okay, I got it first try. I think it's like 1 or 2 frames that you have to do that, but getting that wall jump up the right side actually saves like a few seconds. And we're going to do a clip again right here.
So what I like about this level and a lot of the levels in this game is that there are multiple ways to do it. That level was designed with two intended ways to do it. One of them was the way he did it by getting the 2 keys and opening the door to the bottom. Another way is over the top, where you climb up to the very top and just go over and drop down to get the exit key.
Get ready on time. This is the last level. And time.
Solid run.
Good job.
Solid run.
That was extremely well played.
Nice. That's
Nice. What is your PB again for reference?
My PB is 1854, and that's the first sub 20 I've gotten in like a month.
Oh, yeah.
So that's awesome. So yeah, that was N. Thank you guys all for watching. I guess I don't have too many shout outs. I don't know if you guys have any closing comments.
That's the Dust Force crew. I'm so glad Yeti joined our Dust Force community.
Shout
Yeah,
outs
Dust
to
Force is
the
another awesome game,
end
so.
speedrunners. Actually, we took a lot of the strats that we developed for this speedrun from people who high scored on the top 20. In fact, every level in the game has a top 20 leaderboard, so often we look to those to try and understand what kind of strats were optimal, and we sort of morphed our run around that and around what was possible in a real-time speedrun. So big
Yeah,
shout outs to
yeah, a
them.
lot of the routes
Shout
I
out.
take are just
Shout outs
lifted
to the
straight out
devs
of the
as well.
leaderboards. So
Oh, Mare and Reagan, these people are amazing. They've stuck together with this game since 2005, 2006, and they're always listening to the community's feedback.
They're even actually developing the latest iteration N++ for PS4. So we're definitely looking forward to the game being released later this year, I believe.
I'd say just like good on the people who are really dedicated to these kinds of games. This and Dust Force are just like, it's really hard to even play the game. So being able to do this is like, that's something really special. You gotta really work at that. So I think that's sort of an important thing to take note of.
thank you, Norcat. I guess just one other thing quickly. If anyone is interested in running this game, I actually have a tutorial on my channel for this specific category that tells you how to download the game and get the version I use and all that stuff. So yeah, anyone watching who wants to play this, I'm always happy to have more competition.
Oh, show off what you unlock. Off what you unlock.
What did I unlock?
The colors.
Okay. You can have pretty colors. We can be pink now. Okay. So that's it. Thank you guys all for watching. Thanks for having me. It was great. And that's it for me.
That was YetiRevolution with N. Again, great run, Yeti. And coming up next is Rayman Legends with Kane Apache, followed by I Wanna Be the Boshi by Witwix. So you won't want to miss those two coming up. Stay tuned. Quick note, the Kung Foot incentive, we are at $977 out of $3,000. Let's try to get this in. It's the soccer-like game in Rayman Legends with Rayman Physics. And quick $100 donation from MetaNet Software. Thanks for this great event, and thanks so much for including N in it. We're so happy to be able to support this great cause. All right, we're going to take a quick break for a commercial, and we'll be right back. Take care and stay tuned.